Imagine walking into a garden. It's a sunny day in spring. You can hear the birds chirping. You see the bees around the flowers, and you can feel the warm breeze on your face. But wait, is that a cabbage in a planter? Hi, my name is Claire Eveson, and I'm here to share with y'all my dream of a better future where we can further enrich our spaces in the city by including native plants and food crops. Growing up in the more urbanized part of North Carolina, I had to get creative with how I was able to go outside and spend time in nature. I remember collecting as many field guides about birds, rocks, bugs, you name it. But one thing I never really understood was why I never saw any of the species in my books listed as common in my area. That was until one day, when I went to a park near my house, I saw a little horde of bumblebees flocking to a clover plant instead of the colorful assortment of roses nearby. So I couldn't help but wonder why choose the clover plant. But I later learned that this was because many insects and native species to North Carolina can only eat from native plants and not from the non-native plants we use in the majority of our urban green spaces. In fact, the Smithsonian Conservation Biology Institute conducted a study where it was found that 90% of songbirds, or more specifically Carolina chickadees, could only survive in spaces that had 70% native species of plants or more. This was because 90% of the herbaceous insects that the birds fed on could only eat one or two plants that were native. Additionally, another aspect we should consider about our green spaces is that we have purely ornamental in our green spaces. Have you ever considered maybe putting carrots or tomatoes? They can be just as beautiful as any plants that we can't eat. This actually may sound crazy, but it has a name, which is called edible landscaping. Edible landscaping is the pathway to a more sustainable and productive future, since it can help us to provide people with more food security, which is crucial to our society, considering that it has been found that 1 in 8 people in North Carolina suffer from food insecurity. What is food insecurity, you may ask? Food insecurity is defined as not being able to have the proper nutrients to sustain oneself, and it's even more important for young children to have food security as they are continuing to grow and develop in our world. Furthermore, many people don't consider that maybe we can provide people with more security by incorporating food in our parks to make them more available to the public and each other. Finally, one thing, my personal favorite about edible landscaping is that it makes gardening more available to those around us. One thing people fail to consider about gardening is that you don't need a yard to do that. Houseplants make just as well as outdoor plants, and they can provide us with the same feeling and education about regular plants. Next off, the APA actually found that we should spend 2 hours outside for our mental health. And those who do actually have found that they can have an endognomic relationship with the outdoors. Endognomic is something that goes beyond just a good feeling and is described as finding a broader connection with nature and a more belonging space in their overall world. This is the same feeling as being with your close friends or family. Nextly, many people fail to realize that you can maximize your space outdoors by using something called a raised planter that can actually provide you with a ground level and an upper level of space. Finally, I would like to end this speech by leaving you all with something I created called SUPER. SUPER is an acronym that consists of substitute, upcycle, plant, educate, renovate. By substituting our native plants, our non-native plant species, with native ones, we can further enrich our green spaces by providing pollinators with the proper nutrients to sustain themselves and therefore sustaining our gardens. For example, take the Bradford pear tree. It is very invasive and does not provide any pollinator nutrients or sustenance, and as well as displaces our bird species. We can replace that with the magnolia tree, which provides pollinators with the same nutrients and has the same beautiful white flowers as the Bradford pear tree. Next off, do you know what happens to our waste? Well, only 1/4 of it is actually successfully recycled, while the rest of it is either incinerated or ends up in landfills. Why not kill 2 birds with 1 stone? And consider taking that plastic bottle on your nightstand and turn it into a potential propagation station. Every piece of plastic or metal has the potential to become something beautiful with the right mindset. Take this beautiful plant bed that I have. It was used using upcycled wood and materials, which provided me with the same material as any other waste for people who don't go out much. You can go outside and plant. Many native species survive better than non-native ones and don't require much effort on your part. You can plant seeds from your local farmer's market, forget about them, and then remember them when they sprout up next spring. Finally, for my non-gardeners who tend to kill everything with a quote-unquote black thumb, I know some people there, but perhaps you can know somebody who does garden and can keep them alive. Share your newfound knowledge of sustainable gardening with them and encourage them to go out into their world and share with those who can keep things alive how to do that. Finally, it is crucial in our ever-increasingly urban world to renovate our existing old spaces that serve as pools of potential to future gardeners. Take my school garden, for example. It has been untouched for 35 years. Just take a moment to imagine what that might look like. I know. However, with the help of my school community, lots of effort, and a couple spiders, we were able to finally renovate our garden and I could not be more proud of the progress we have made. Finally, I would like to leave you all with a final message to go out into your world and to leave a lasting impact by planting with purpose. Thank you.